So, my name is Sho. Thank you very much, Yoko-san, for arranging. Where are you? Ah, right there. Arranging everything. Thank you, Jonathan and Ita-sensei, for the opportunity. My name is Sho. I came over from Hongo, where I'm based in, where I'm working on the project, which is called Professional and Global Educators Community. In this presentation, I'm going to briefly explain our practice, research, and challenges. So that's the thing I'm going to cover. As I'm repeating myself, practice, research, and challenges, and solution to that. That's the primary subject. My main focus here is to get feedback, constructive one, so that I can polish up my project. A little bit about myself. I am a Japanese citizen who was born and raised in Tokyo. My background is, as you can see, something called leisure studies. Leisure. And I have spent 25 years until I started PhD in Edinburgh, Scotland. It's a part of the UK, by the way. Then, when I got my barber done, I decided to come back to Japan. But I had no publication, no network, and I felt almost hopeless at pursuing academic job, especially in the area of leisure studies. So I decided, I considered very carefully what Japanese academics would expect me, and I thought it's the globalization of Japanese universities. So I put global and English in the searching box, then I clicked, and I found my current position. I applied, I got interviewed, and luckily I got this position. So it's called English Medium Instruction. The center that I'm working for is called Center for Research and Development of Higher Education. It sees itself as an engine for university-wide educational reform. Here I'm presenting two major branches. One is faculty development, another is online education. On top of faculty development, we have interactive teaching, which is run by Professor Kurita. It focuses on the improvement of teaching skills. That's what we mean by faculty development. We also have something called DIVE. They address kind of a broader questions like how can we make time for research? How can we balance between researching and education, or even private life? So I think it's pretty much like cow's lunch, if I'm not mistaken. There's page. We work on English medium instruction. To put simply, it means teaching your academic subjects in English. There's online education. We also work on MOOCs, primarily platforms called edX, which is developed by MIT and Harvard, and also Coursera, that was launched by Stanford. We also have OCW, Open Courseware. They make regular lectures available online so that public people, anyone can watch them online. I have my colleagues behind yourself. They're filming this presentation, and they are called Todai TV, and they're gonna make this publicly available online. So that's a brief overview of my center. Page is relevant to online education as well, because we develop MOOC, which is called UTokyo English Academia, which I'm going to explain in more detail later. Our mission is to support junior academics of this university to develop skills at teaching their academic subjects in English. English medium instruction, we follow this definition. And as I said, we work on online education as well. We develop a MOOC, English Academia, which I'm going to call EA in short. MOOCs have limitation, as you probably know. It doesn't offer you any face-to-face interaction. So the idea, we organize blended workshops. The idea is blending offline and online learning so that they can complement with each other. So pages organized, yeah, we have these people, including myself. On top of that, Dr. Fujimoto, whose expertise include online education and game-based learning, but he's in charge of UTokyo MOOCs as well. And Dr. Nakazawa, she also works on online education, active learning, higher education, and distance learning. So these two professors are pretty much like edtech people, education and technology people. That's me. We have a clerical staff, Kotobuki-san, and also Oshiro-san as a translator. We are not a big team. Practice and research. So that's EA. There's a huge QR code, so you can jump to the website if you want. MOOC, massive open online course. We see this as a MOOC. It's based on a platform called Open edX. It's slightly different from edX, but it's a part of edX. It's a MOOC on English for academic purpose. EAP. We work on EMI, but our primary target is junior academics, Japanese junior academics, whose English proficiency is intermediate. And we believe EMI probably too early for them to work on. So deliberately, we keep the objective of this MOOC kind of broad or wide. So when we say EAP, it includes, for example, giving a presentation in academic conferences, or even networking in academic conferences, or even introduce yourself in English. So far, we've got more than 20,000 enrollments, including 2,700 UTokyo academics. Amongst them, 510 learners who have completed. There's a link so that I can give you an idea how it's like. So this is EA. So as you can see on your left hand, it has 10 modules, including introduction and finale. In this module is about how to give a lecture effectively. It's comprised mainly of conversation between the English instructor, which is called Lisa, and other grad students. It follows very simplified 3-step storyline. Grad students face a problem saying, Lisa, I'm going to give a presentation at an international conference, but I don't know how to. I need to practice. And then Lisa says, no worry, you can practice and you can improve your skills at presenting your research. Okay, I'll do. Then grad students overcome the problem. Happy. So that's EA. So fictional characters. One of the characteristics of EA is this interface. As I mentioned, we use fictional characters, grad students who work on different disciplines or subjects. Some are scientists, some are philosopher. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, 3-step storyline. So I've covered that, dialogues between the grad students and the instructor. Yeah, I've explained all of them. We organize blended workshops too, partly because EA doesn't offer you any face-to-face interaction, and also at some point we distributed an online questionnaire to see how learners feel about EA. But you know, it's just a subjective views on EA. So we want to objectively measure the impact of this course on their English proficiency. So there are two purposes. One is objectively measure the degree to which EA's impact on their English proficiency, and also, yeah, we want to give them an opportunity to practice their English as much as possible. The first blended workshop was held in June last year. We had two objectives. By the end of the workshop, we wanted them to demonstrate the abilities to use a variety of English phrases, and also to design and deliver a lecture effectively. It's a workshop on EMI. Giving a lecture is still core in teaching in higher education, I believe. So we recruited junior academics of this university. The total was 11. Their English proficiency varied from 5 to 6 in IELTS, or grade 2 or grade P1 in ACAN, the Japanese English proficiency test. But it's a self-report, so we don't really know, how fluent they were. So they had different academic subjects. Their teaching experience also varied. We intentionally selected people who hadn't finished Module 8 of EA. It's about teaching a class as a guest lecturer. There is a reason why. And I hope it turns clearer when you see this timetable. So the workshop started with teaching demonstrations. Participants gave teaching demonstrations, but it was short, only 5 minutes. And then they gave feedback to each other. So it's called peer evaluation. And after that, my colleague gave a lecture on instructional design. Instructional design is a pedagogy about how to systematically design your courses or even smaller classes. We wanted to work on that because we believe EMI is not only about the English language, but it's also about pedagogy. Then we distributed worksheets so that the participants put the ideas that they got from this lecture into practice. Then we let them study English expressions with EA. In the middle of this workshop, in the classroom, not at home prior to the workshop, but in the middle of this workshop, so that we could see the impact of this course on their English proficiency. That's the reason. There is a time in which they could practice their teaching demonstrations. Then they gave the second round of demonstrations. It's a mock lecture, basically. Of course, they were expected to give better lectures than the first one. So to give you an idea how it went, that's teaching demonstration. There's a student giving a lecture, mock lecture. He's my ex-colleague who has left the uni. This is the evaluation sheet which we use. Hopefully I can make it bigger. We had two major criteria. One is delivery, which is basically concerned with public speaking skill. Another is pedagogy, teaching methodology. As I'm repeating myself, EMI is about both English and pedagogy, so we needed this criterion. Yeah. So that's the lecture on individual learning with English academia. Well, we just provided them with devices like iPads or tiny laptops so that they could focus on this learning without any disturbance. Then we compared the result of the first peer evaluation and the second peer evaluation. This is the result. As you can see, in most of criteria, we had fairly good results. But what was slightly disappointing to me was this criterion used a wide variety of English expressions, because that was one of the objectives. Then we thought the design of the workshop didn't work well. We let them study English expressions in the middle of the workshop, but probably it wasn't really effective. That's how we thought. So for the second workshop, we are trying to tackle that challenge. We received some says from the participants in the first workshop saying, there is no point of learning English expressions with EA in the middle of the workshop. So we thought maybe we can try a flipped design. They also wanted to work on different subjects like facilitation discussion. So we considered that request as well. Then we decided on the facilitation of small discussion class as the subject for the second workshop. The objective was to demonstrate the abilities to use a wide variety of English, which is the same as the first workshop, and to manage discussion classes. That was a new thing. We had a total of 9 participants using the same criteria as the first one, but we required them to study Module 7, Facilitating Group Discussion, prior to the workshop. It's a flipped design. So this is the result. As you can see, we have good results for all of the criteria. We realize, or at least I realize, there are 3 challenges we are facing. One is awareness of EMI. There are 2 meanings. Coming back to the staff background, there's no applied linguists or experts on EMI in my team. So it took us nearly 2 years for us to find the term EMI. Now we know there's a body of literature on EMI, but we didn't know that. We've been trying to collaborate with someone called Nicola Galloway from Edinburgh Uni, where I did my PhD. She knows a lot about EMI, so now we can get much help from her. EMI in UTokyo, I don't think, did everyone know EMI? Yeah? Okay, but no, right. Yeah, I think there are many people who have no idea what it is. So I think it's my mission to raise the awareness of EMI in this uni. I mentioned our primary focus is on people with intermediate English proficiency, but there are people who have no problem with English. They may want to improve their teaching skills as well, so we have to work on that, I think. The final one, I think we should address the question of, we should try to answer the question of why online? Yes, online education, EMI, both trendy, and there might be possibility for complementarity, but why do we have to work on both of them? So these are challenges I'm aware of. Now, please open your diary. As a solution to those challenges, we're gonna organize a seminar. Yeah, nice noise. On the 16th of February, next month, it's a seminar on EMI in Japanese higher education and global English. Global Englishes is the term, with that term you can understand the diversity of Englishes. the English language. It's going to be held in Ito International Conference Center, Hongo, where I'm based in. Nicola is coming over all the way from Edinburgh to give a talk to collaborate with us. Contents includes the status quo of EMI in Japanese higher education and the idea of global Englishes, which she's proposing, and also the maybe paradigm of native speakerism. It's a face-to-face seminar, but people all over the world will be able to watch that via a webinar or live streaming. We're going to also use live polling or voting system, Slido. Maybe you can help us. The question we are planning to ask is, do you think English learners should aim to speak like native speakers? Something like that. I think it's interesting. So you guys are all invited, and there are people who are highly engaged in the online network Nicola has been developing. I'm going to show it to you as well. So that's a network. Applied linguists working on the English language always use the world map because they are interested in the global spread of the language. So that's Nicola Galway, who's going to come here. Yes, as you can see, people from all over the world are being involved in Illinois and Cyprus, Tsurubunka Daigaku, Southampton, UCL, Oxford. They are big. Niigata, Meiji, where am I? Yeah, and Oxford. So there's a network. With this, we can exchange knowledge, also building huge network. I want to close the presentation with this question: where's the nexus? As Jonathan mentioned, there are many different globalization relevant initiatives in this university. I have identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, including mine. But I'm nearly sure there are more. And I feel there are some bits and pieces that are overlapping. Faculty development and internationalization. I feel there's a chance to collaborate, but how can we help each other? That's the question I want to ask. Thank you.